you're looking for a quarterback or a tight end to help you out in week 10 for fantasy football, stay tuned. I'm going to give you my top 3 pickups at each position, starting with quarterback. So let's get to it. Counting down with number 3, I'm going to go with Teddy Bridgewater. That's right, Teddy Two Gloves. You know what? It looked like a tough matchup for him against Kansas City on paper. It was a tough matchup because they limit points to quarterbacks. And Christian McCaffrey back thought might cut into his passing volume. Didn't do that at all. Went over 300 yards, even ran in a touchdown, something that he's starting to do more and more, use his legs, which is always a good thing. So here's the problem without CMC, because it looks like he might miss week 10. Is Teddy Bridgewater going to then fall? Not at all. He didn't have McCaffrey for basically all the years since the very beginning, and he put up multiple 300-yard games. The matchup with Tampa Bay, maybe not ideal, but Drew Brees seemed to do just fine against them yesterday. This Tampa Bay defense might be starting to show some cracks, chinks in the armor. So it shouldn't be enough to steer you away. I'm not going to say it's the best matchup, but Teddy Bridgewater has shown that this offense, he can run it and be effective. So I do like the way he's looked. Again, with or without McCaffrey, doesn't matter. Bridgewater is always a strong streamer, kind of a high-end quarterback too. So keep him in mind. My number 2 quarterback, though, this week is going to be Tua, my boy Tua Tagovailoa. He's looked sharp, razor sharp. As a rookie, first 2 starts, he has not thrown an interception so far. I know he hasn't put up a ton of yards, a ton of points. He hasn't needed to. Let's be honest, this defense is for real, Miami defense. Okay, so that could pose a problem because, you know, a lot of times the fantasy stars are the ones who put up the garbage time points. Like Drew Lock is getting a lot of points. I'm not recommending him because it's all fourth quarter garbage time. This defense is not allowing that for Tua. So here's the thing. If you're looking for 300-plus yards, I can't guarantee you that from Tua. I can guarantee he will not turn it over. So in leagues where that matters most, where quarterbacks get penalized heavily for interceptions, you should feel much better about him. All right, going against the Chargers, it's an okay matchup. It's not anything to be too scared of, but it's also not going to be, you know, delivering you a huge fantasy day. So Tua is a solid, maybe not spectacular start, but I feel pretty good about the progress he's making. But my number 1 quarterback for this week in week 10 is going to be Nick Foles. Yes, Nick Foles. Well, you know what? Nick Foles for 3 straight weeks, he's been climbing in yardage, got his best game as a Bear this past week, finally hit the 300-yard mark. And you know what? He's going to actually surpass that probably, because going against Minnesota, which is one of the worst pass defenses in the league this coming week, might not have their starting running back if David Montgomery is out due to concussions. So you know what? Nick Foles is going to have to throw the ball a lot, especially with the way that Minnesota offense is rolling. It could be a surprise shootout, believe it or not. We will see. But you know what? You've got to like Nick Foles' chances. I actually have him as my top streamer of the week, so consider picking him up if you need someone to replace a guy like, Pat Mahomes, who's on bye. All right, before I get to tight ends, don't forget, guys, hit that subscribe button. We do this every single week, waiver wire for every position. Our goal is to help you win, so let's start with tight ends and see who can help you in week 10 at the streaming position. So let's start with number 3, Eric Ebron. I know I mentioned him a couple of times. He's gaining some traction. He's not a hot ad ever, but he's also not somebody who has seen a lot of ups and downs. He's just kind of slowly becoming more a part of this offense. You saw he scored last week against Dallas. And you know what? He's always going to be there. He's always a really solid part of that offense, which is, of course, one of the best teams in the league, still undefeated, and got Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback. So always a solid start. Going against Cincinnati, it's a really nice matchup. So the only problem is you can't guarantee a huge workload just because so many other mouths to feed, right? The receivers like Juju and Deontay Johnson. But Ebron is right there with him. He's a part of this offense. So you've got to like his chances, especially with Cincinnati. He scored a touchdown in 2 straight games now. My number 2 tight end for week 10 is Dallas Goedert. I know that we haven't heard a lot about him lately. He was off for several weeks, and then his last game, just 1 catch for 15 yards, and then the bye. So not a really exciting ad. You can't think of many reasons to add him. Well, Zach Ertz is still out. He's the number 1 tight end. They're still hurting somewhat at receiver. I know it looks like Alshon Jeffrey might come back. Jalen Reagor's back. But this still is a team that will throw to the tight end quite a bit. So I like Dallas Goedert, not so much just for this week going against the Giants, but going forward. He could be what we kind of expected. He could be, think about, without Ertz there, he could be a top 10 tight end because, again, this is not an offense that really has, a guy at wide receiver that's going to be a target hog. Travis Fulgham has been, but that's largely because they've had nobody else, right? Not to diss Fulgham in any way, but Goedert will be involved. I guarantee it. I like him as a pickup the rest of the season, as I already said. But the number one pickup right now has got to be Austin Hooper. Kind of surprised how much he was dropped in leagues. I get he's missed 3 straight weeks, 2 because of the appendicitis, and then 1 because of the bye. Well, he's back. He's already practicing. He's going to be playing in week 10 and the rest of the season. This is a team without Odell Beckham. This is a team that had been throwing to Hooper more and more as the weeks went on, right before the unfortunate, I'm going to call it injury, his absence due to the, appendicitis. But Hooper is going to be one of the top targeted tight ends from here on out. So I actually like him just a little bit ahead of Goedert. He should be a top 10 play. Only thing that holds me back from saying that he's an absolute every week must start is just lack of touchdowns, right? And with Nick Chubb coming back, obviously this team is going to still try to run the ball in the red zone as much as possible. At this point, though, you're looking for a waiver wire tight end. You get somebody who's going to get several catches each week. You should be happy with that, all right? And he will probably get in the end zone at least a couple of times. So go with Austin Hooper. You won't regret it. He is available in way too many leagues. All right, hopefully that helps you. If you need help at wide receiver or running back, again, check out those other videos. And as I mentioned, hit subscribe. Give us a comment if you have any other questions, and we will help you as much as we can. Don't forget Endgame Live every Sunday, 2 hours before kickoff, so we can help with start-sit questions. All right, good luck, and thanks for watching.